Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verse number 9. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Paribrajakachaja Stotara Sata Shri Srimadesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Pramsakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai Navadip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verse number 9. Kavim Puranam Manushashishtam Ram Anoranyam Samanusmaredya Sarvasya Dataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Prarastat Kavim Puranam Manushashitaram Anorayam Samanumasmaredya Sarvasya Dataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat Kavim Puranam Manushashitaram Anoranyam Samanusmaredya Sarvasya Dataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat Kavim Purana Manushashitaram Anoranyam Samanusmaredya Sarvasya Dataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. Kavim, one who knows everything. Puranam, the oldest. Anushashitaram, the controller. Anu, of the atom. Aniyamsam, smaller than. Anusmaret, always thinking. Ya, one who. Sarvasya, of everything. Dhataram, maintainer. Achintya, inconceivable. Rupam, form. Aditya Varnam, illuminated like the sun. Tamasaha, of the darkness. Parastat, transcendental. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and, being transcendental, is beyond this material nature. Purport. The process of thinking of the Supreme is mentioned in this verse. The foremost point is that he is not impersonal or void. One cannot meditate on something impersonal or void. That is very difficult. The process of thinking of Krishna, however, is very easy and is factually stated herein. First of all, he is Purusha, spiritual, Rama and Krishna, and is described herein as Kavim, that is, he knows past, present, and future, and therefore knows everything. He is the oldest personality because he is the origin of everything. Everything is born of him. He is also the supreme controller of the universe, maintainer and instructor of humanity. He is smaller than the smallest. The living entity is 1/10,000th part of the tip of a hair, but the Lord is so inconceivably small that he enters into the heart of this particle. Therefore, he is called smaller than the smallest. As the Supreme, he can enter into the atom and into the heart of the smallest and control him as the Supersoul. Although so small, he is still all-pervading and is maintaining everything. By him, all these planetary systems are sustained. We often wonder how these big planets are floating in the air. It is stated here that the Supreme Lord, by his inconceivable energy, is sustaining all these big planets and systems of galaxies. The word achintya, inconceivable, is very significant in this connection. God's energy is beyond our conception, beyond our thinking, jurisdiction, and is therefore called inconceivable, achintya. Who can argue this point? He pervades this material world and yet is beyond it. We cannot even comprehend this material world, which is insignificant compared to the spiritual world. So how can we comprehend what is beyond? Achintya means that which is beyond this material world, that which our argument, logic, and philosophical speculation cannot touch, that which is inconceivable. Therefore, intelligent persons, avoiding useless argument and speculation, should accept what is stated in the scriptures like the Vedas, Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and follow the principles that set down. This will lead to one's understanding. Kavim Puranam Anushashitaram Anor Anyamsam Anusmaredya Sarvasya Dataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. So here we continue the description of the Lord. One of the most important and the most important feature of Krishna consciousness is the understanding of God as a person, not as some old man or some impersonal, knowledgeable entity, not as some controller who gives good points for good deeds and bad points for bad deeds, who is actually dependent on our activities. There is a group of philosophers like that in India. They're called the Karma Mimamsas. Karma Mimamsa means that even if there is God, he is subject to our activities. In other words, if we act good, then we will get good. If we act badly, we will get bad results. But actually, this philosophy doesn't work like that. Because even you do good, ultimately there has to be the sanction of the Supreme Lord. He is not bound by whether we do good or whether we do bad. Krishna is only attainable, Krishna is only realized when he agrees to be seen. So many examples. For example, once in Dwarka, one Brahmana's son died upon being born. And the Brahmana was very upset. And he went and he lodged a complaint at the gate of the king, King Ugrasen. And he said, because there is something wrong with the administration of this city, my son has died. And then the next year, the second son died. And the next year, the third son died. In the end, 9 sons all died. And Arjuna promised the Brahmana that he will protect him, but he was unable to do so. Therefore, Arjuna was ready to enter into fire. But Krishna told him, no, you don't need to enter into fire. You come with me, I will bring the sons of the Brahmana back. And Krishna took him beyond the universe, took him into the Karana ocean to see Lord Mahavishnu, who had taken the 9 sons. So the question was, why did Mahavishnu take the 9 sons? He took them because he wanted to see Krishna. And Mahavishnu himself had to come into Dwarka, because unless Krishna gives permission, no one can harass, no one can bring disturbance to any one of his devotees. And unless Krishna gives permission, no one can see him. So when Krishna agreed to meet with Mahavishnu, upon his agreement, he went from Dwarka to the spiritual world. So in this way, the Karma Mimamsa philosophers that say that if we do good, God is bound to reciprocate, that only works up to a point. We may have the best medicine, we may have the best doctor, but that doesn't guarantee that we will not die. That does not guarantee that we will be healed from the disease. That healing process, whether the medicine works or not, that is beyond the power of the patient or the doctor. It is in the power of God. So when Krishna agrees to be seen, we can see him. And this is the process of Krishna consciousness, that we actually get an opportunity to directly perceive the nature of God. That is done by the mercy of his devotee. As I've often explained, Krishna belongs to his devotees. Krishna is 24 hours a day absorbed in a loving relationship with his different devotees, encompassing 5 main rasa: Shanta, Dasya, Shakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. That Krishna reciprocates to those who understand that God exists, but have no direct understanding. That is called Shantaras. They have no direct understanding of his personality. Then there is Dasya Ras, when one actually understands that God is a person and he reciprocates, then service can be begun in relationship with him. And this is called Dasya Ras. When that service becomes more intimate, when Krishna accepts our service, then that service is based more on a friendly basis, and then Krishna becomes our friend. When our love for Krishna increases more and more, Krishna accepts even to become our child. He accepts to be the child of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai, to reciprocate their great love for him. This is unique in Krishna consciousness. This is unique in Vaishnavism, where God becomes the son of the devotee. God becomes dependent upon the devotee. Everybody is depending on God, but here we see that in Vatsalya Ras, God becomes dependent on his devotee. His devotee is thinking that if I don't take care of God, if I don't take care of Krishna, he will be harmed. If I don't feed him, he will not grow properly. If I don't teach him, he will not understand properly. So in this way, the affection between the devotee and Krishna becomes thicker and thicker. And the ultimate affection, of course, is Madhurya Ras, when Krishna accepts his devotee as his lover. But in any case, in all these situations, Krishna is sold out and he belongs to his devotees. Therefore, if we want to get Krishna, we have to go to those persons who have Krishna, and that is one of his pure devotees. That pure devotee, because he has Krishna, he has the power to give you Krishna. Just like when Krishna appeared, once in a day of Brahma, Krishna appears in each universe. When he appeared in this universe, he didn't take birth by seminal injection. He didn't take birth in a normal way that human beings take birth. No. First he became manifested into the heart of Vasudeva. When Krishna became manifested into the heart of Vasudeva, Vasudeva transferred that realization, that relationship with Krishna, that connection with Krishna. Because he had it in his heart, he was able to transmit it into the heart of his wife, Devaki. And so she also experienced the presence of Krishna in her heart. And then Krishna appeared in front of Vasudeva and Devaki as a small child with 4 hands, with a helmet, with a Kaustuba jewels, with a Vaijayanti mala, with beautiful ornaments, peacock feather, Srivatsa mark on his chest, just like a small version of Lord Vishnu. He didn't take birth like a normal human being. So the point I'm trying to make is that Krishna was given to Devaki by Vasudeva through the heart. So in the same way, when we meet someone who has a compact with Krishna in his heart, when we meet Krishna's devotee, whose heart is connected directly with Krishna, then that person can put Krishna from his heart to our heart. For hundreds of years, the Bhagavad Gita was read in the West. For many, many years, many philosophers appreciated, read, and glorified the Bhagavad Gita, but no one became a devotee of Krishna. So many people came to India from outside the Varnashram system, so many Muslims, so many Christians, but they weren't able to become pure devotees of Krishna. Because to become a pure devotee of Krishna, you have to find a pure devotee of Krishna and you have to serve him. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, Naham Vipro, I am not a Brahmana. Lord Chaitanya was born in a Mishra, Brahmana family in Navadvip. But he said, Naham Vipro, I am not a Brahmana. Nachar Narapati. I'm not a Kshatriya. Na Vaishya, I am not a Vaishya. Sudru Naham Varni, I am not a Shudra. I am not part of the Varnashram system. Griya Patir, I'm not a householder. Na Vanashto, I'm not a Vanaprasna. Yatirva, I'm not a sannyas. So who am I? He says, Gopi Bhartu Pada Kamalayor, Dasa Dasa Das Anudas. I am the servant of the servant of the servant of Gopi Bhartu Pada, of the lotus feet of that person who is maintaining the gopis. Now Lord Chaitanya was a very, very strict sannyasi. women were not allowed to come close to him, even to offer respects. They had to offer their obeisances from a distant place. Nowhere in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, or the history of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do you find that he ever joked with women. Never. He was very, very strict in his sannyas vows, and he kept very great distance from the ladies. Yet, he glorifies the gopis, and he was always absorbed in thinking of the relationship within the gopis and Krishna. What is that relationship? That relationship is that the gopis were able to give up everything, but their aim was to please Krishna. Whatever the gopis did, whatever they do to satisfy Krishna. They dress beautifully because they know that if they are dressed beautifully, if they look attractive, Krishna becomes pleased. They don't listen to their husbands, those that are married. They don't listen to their elders. They don't listen to their brothers. When Krishna calls, they go. They give up everything for the pleasure of Krishna. This is pure devotion. So Krishna says, that person who, and why is that? Because the gopis feel that without Krishna, we cannot live. Krishna is their maintainer, Gopi Bhartu. He maintains the gopis. So Mahaprabhu says, I am nothing of this world. I don't belong to this material world. I don't identify with anything in this material world, with my wife, with my family. I don't identify with my caste. I don't identify with my material situation in any way. I only identify with being the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. So this is the process. And Prabhupada, Vaishnava philosophy, is the only process which can actually bring us to the point of understanding what is the nature of God. Now, the definition of God, I was very attracted to Krishna consciousness because of the philosophy. I was born in Christianity, I was trained as a Catholic, and I have a belief in God. But I understood God as a father figure. I understood God as someone who will give me what I need. I understood God as someone who took care of me when I was in trouble. In other words, it was a one-way traffic. I was trying to be good, but actually the idea behind being good or religious is to make sure that God would continue to supply me my needs. But my consciousness was in matter, in this body, identifying with this body. God is the Father who supplies me my needs. But in Krishna consciousness, it's the other way around. Suddenly, my needs, or the things that make me happy in the material world, became revealed for what they are, which is temporary and painful. Material pleasure is painful because it comes to an end. Material pleasure is painful because it is not pure. Material relationships are not pure. We relate with each other, but we have a hidden agenda. I like you because there is something about you that I want. You like me because there is something about me that you want. And when that need is gone, then the friendship is finished, the love is finished, the marriage is finished. So Krishna consciousness gave me a possibility to follow or to pursue the beautiful things in life in such a way that they always existed, that they didn't come to an end. In other words, if I wanted a lover, Krishna can be my lover. If I wanted a friend, Krishna can be my friend. Whatever I was using, whatever item gives me pleasure, I could see that Krishna was supplying that item. So through that item, I see the pleasure of Krishna. So this in Vaishnava philosophy is unique. And I was attracted because there is a definition of who is God, not just some father figure, not some order supplier. No, God is the most beautiful, God is the most knowledgeable, God is the most strong, He is the most wealthy, He is the most famous, and He is the most renounced. So this Asvaryasya Samagrasya Viryasya Yashashashriyaha Jnana Vairagya Yoschaivya Sannam Bhaga Itingina. This verse from the Vishnu Puran was spoken by Parasara Muni, who was a great sage and the father of Vyasadeva. So Parasara, he defined God, that God is one who has who has 6 qualities which are very attractive, and each quality to an unlimited degree. We're all attracted to beauty, but there is nothing that can compare to the beauty of Krishna. Krishna's beauty is just like an unending group of waves crashing over from the ocean, crashing when you go swimming, when the wave crashes over you. So the beauty of Krishna is just like a wave crashing over you, and you just have time to catch your breath when another wave will come. So this is Krishna's beauty. It is unending and unlimited. It cannot be compared. In fact, any material beauty, and there is a lot of beauty in the material world. Even Bhaktivinoda said, Keshava, Toma Jagat Vichitra, that your material world is Vichitra. It's very, very beautiful, like a beautiful work of art. But that beauty has no comparison to the beauty of Krishna. Indeed, it is beautiful because it is connected to Krishna. So Krishna has unlimited beauty, and he has unlimited knowledge. For 5,000 years, people have been studying the Bhagavad Gita. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Vedais cha sarvai aham eva vidyo. Vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. That if you study all the Vedas, I am to be known by that study. Vedanta krit, I compile the Vedanta, Vedanta, the conclusion of knowledge, the conclusion of the Vedas. Eva chaham, that is me. So Krishna's knowledge is unlimited. And his fame is unlimited. Krishna appeared on this planet 5,000 years ago, and still he is famous. If you go in India, there is literally hundreds of thousands and thousands of temples of Krishna. Now there are temples of Krishna all over the planet. What other personality is so famous as Krishna? So, beauty, knowledge, fame, strength. Krishna is so strong that no one ever defeated him. His appearance in this planet and the history of his life, which lasted 125 years, when Krishna appears in each universe, he appears for 125 years. From the moment of his birth, his strength is insurmountable. When he was a tiny baby, he killed Putana, he killed Shakatasura, he killed Trinavarta, Bakasura, Agasura, all the great big demons which were sent by his wicked uncle Kamsa to kill him. Instead, Krishna killed them all, one after another. Even though he was a small child, he was a small boy. So nobody can be stronger than Krishna. And as far as beauty, strength, knowledge, fame, wealth. Krishna's wealth is also unlimited. Although he lived as a cowherd boy in Vrindavan, Vrindavan is so beautiful. Vrindavan is such an inconceivably beautiful place. And it is naturally beautiful by the arrangement of Mother Nature, Vrindadevi in the forest, Jamuna with the river, Govardhan with the hill, and pastures for the cows. It is all done by Krishna's nature. And if you want even more direct, in-your-face example, then you go to Dwarka, which was unlimited. It is said that in Dwarka, the Yadu dynasty employed 38 million teachers to teach the children. So if it took 38 million teachers, can you imagine how many children they had? Ugrasena, the king of Dwarka. Actually, Krishna was the king of Dwarka. But there was an ancient curse that a Yadu could not be a king. Therefore, Ugrasena, who was a Bhoja, the Bhoja dynasty, which was allied with the Vrishnis. So Ugrasena, who was a Bhoja, he became the king. and only his personal bodyguard was 1,250,000,000 soldiers, which is more, much more than the population of this whole planet now. So you cannot imagine the opulence of Krishna. And of course, Krishna's renunciation. When there was a discussion during the Rajasuya sacrifice, there was a preliminary discussion to decide who would receive the Agra Puja, or who would be elected the chairman of the assembly. And Krishna was proposed, and one of his proponents was Bhishma Dev. And Bhishma Dev said that Krishna is so wonderful. He says, I am a brahmachari. I have taken a vow never to marry, and I consider myself renounced, but I consider Krishna even more renounced, because Krishna, even though was in the middle of the most beautiful woman, he was never attached to them. It is said in Dwarka that Krishna's queens, he had 16,108 queens. They were the most beautiful emanations of Lakshmi, the most beautiful woman in the universe. And they tried night and day to attract Krishna's lusty desires by dressing, by looking, by speaking, by playing. But Krishna was never attracted. It is clearly stated in Bhagavatam that Krishna only had sexual relationship with his queens only and except to have children. Therefore, he was completely renounced. One who is a householder and who engages in sex life with his wife only to produce children is also considered a brahmachari. So this is Krishna. And if you meditate upon him, if you take advantage of Prabhupada's books, take advantage of the presence of Krishna in Prabhupada's heart, then Prabhupada will place Krishna in your heart too. So, Krishna will take care. Ananyas chintayanto mam, he says. One who thinks of me without any other desire. Ye jana paryupasate, tesham nitya biyuktamam, yogaksheman vahamyaham. Once you make the step of meditating upon Krishna, taking instruction from his pure devotee, then Krishna will supply you everything you need. You will not need anything. Everything will be given to you. Externally, the devotee may look poor, or you may be rich. Externally, you may be successful or not successful. But internally, the faith that the devotee has in Krishna is unshakable. Krishna will always give us the power to overcome whatever problem we may face in this material world. And problems are there because we have been living in this material world for many, many, many births, and we have accumulated many, many bad habits. And we have committed many, many karmic activities which cause reaction. Those reactions are annihilated. Immediately you take shelter of Krishna. That is no problem. But the tendency to commit karma, the tendency to become connected to the material world, that is very, very deep, and that takes some time. But Krishna says, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. I will bring you what you need to overcome this. So Yoga Kshemam, whatever you need for yoga, for connecting with me, I will give you. Don't think Krishna will give you material pleasure. Krishna will give you what you need to love him. This is the whole basis of Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. So we have some guests tonight. First of all, I apologize. Last Wednesday we could not have a Gita class. I was having some technical problems. Thank you for joining. So Atma Vidya is there. Haribol Prabhu, Dandavats. Our Brahmin friend, Pranjal Joshi, Hare Krishna. Mandi, Hare Krishna. Pranjal Joshi, if you wish, I can take your interview on my Facebook page. Yes, I would like to do that, but you have to show me how to do it. So send me a private message, and then we will work it out. So Filippo Garciano is also here. All glories, Hare Krishna Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So there are no questions. So So I thank you very much for joining the Gita class tonight. Be happy. Be sure that Krishna will always protect you. And thank you for participating. Haribol.